Welcome to Clever English Podcast. Unlock you potential with Clever English.
So you walk into a room or, well, maybe just log into a video call, right?
Right, yeah, the classic virtual interview setup.
Exactly. You're wearing your best shirt, your resume is perfectly formatted, you've done all your background research on the company, you've rehearsed your technical answers, so you sit down, take a deep breath, and then the person sitting across from you leans forward, smiles, and drops the four most terrifying words in the professional world.
Oh, I know exactly what you're going to say.
Tell me about yourself.
It really is the ultimate deer in the headlights moment, isn't it?
Oh, complete.
Just the sheer open-endedness of it, it's paralyzing.
Instantly, your brain just short circuits. You start sweating. Suddenly, you're wondering, wait, who actually am I? Where was I born? Do they want to know about my dog?
Right, like how far back do we go here?
Yeah, it is a universally dreaded prompt. But, and this is key, if you are an English learner navigating a high-stakes professional conversation in a second language, that blank canvas is exponentially more intimidating.
Oh, absolutely, because you aren't just managing the pressure of an interview at that point.
Right, you are managing this immense cognitive load of translation, vocabulary retrieval, checking your grammar all at the same exact time.
Which is exactly why we are focusing on this today.
Yeah.
You're handed the microphone with absolutely zero parameters. And for a non-native speaker, that lack of structure is just a recipe for a spiral.
It really is. So for today's deep dive, we're pulling from this highly practical, structured guide. It's from an English communication course designed specifically for English learners.
It's a fantastic source.
It is. But as we unpack this, it becomes incredibly obvious that the mechanics of answering this question, well, they apply to absolutely anyone trying to communicate clearly.
Yeah, native speakers mess this up just as often, to be honest.
True. So our mission today is to deconstruct this one terrifying prompt. We're going to explore how you, the listener, can improve your English-speaking confidence, organize your thoughts under pressure, and perfectly present your value without missing a single beat.
Because, surviving an interview is really just a surface-level application here. At its core, this source material is teaching a fundamental exercise in how to synthesize information.
Okay, I like that. Synthesizing information.
Yeah, it's about learning to communicate with ruthless clarity. When you're operating in a second language, your mental bandwidth is already operating near maximum capacity.
Oh, for sure. You're trying to read the room, parse the interviewer's accent.
And formulate your next sentence. So this guide provides a definitive framework so that you don't have to build the airplane while you're actively flying it.
I love that analogy. So let's start by looking at the psychology of the situation, because before we can build the perfect answer, we have to understand why this question causes such a visceral reaction.
It feels like a trap.
Yes, it always feels like a trap. And according to the source material, it feels like a trap because we fundamentally misunderstand the assignment.
We really do.
The interviewer is not actually asking for your life story.
They aren't. And that is the biggest misconception we have to dismantle right away. The interviewer does not want a chronological readout of your existence.
Right. They don't care about your hometown unless it's relevant to the job.
Exactly. They're using this seemingly innocent prompt to evaluate three very specific, very pragmatic metrics.
Okay, let's break those down. What's number one?
Number one is clarity. So can you organize your thoughts logically?
Right, making sure you don't just ramble.
Right. Number two is relevance. Do you possess the situational awareness to focus on what actually matters in this specific professional context?
Okay, and the third one?
Number three is confidence. Do you speak smoothly and naturally even when you're put on the spot?
So it's essentially a stress test for your internal communication system. They're testing the plumbing, not just the water. They want to see if your mental pipes leak when the pressure is turned up.
That is a great way to look at it. And for an English learner, the pipes are already under pressure. That's why we see the exact same mistakes happen right out of the gate.
Yeah, people talk way too long.
Way too long. They start chronologically from their childhood or, their university days. They throw in a dozen irrelevant personal details.
And because they haven't planned a structure, it devolves into this stream of consciousness rambling session where they're desperately searching for a natural place to just stop talking.
Yes. The desperate search for the exit sign.
Exactly. As I was reading through the source's breakdown of these mistakes, a specific comparison came to mind. I think people default to treating this prompt like an autobiography.
Oh, that's interesting. Like a memoir.
Yeah, an autobiography is designed to answer the question, who am I in totality? It includes every chapter, every tangent, every minor character that shapes your life. But your answer to this prompt shouldn't be an autobiography. It needs to be a movie trailer.
A movie trailer. I really like that.
The guiding question isn't, who am I? It's, what is the most relevant story I can tell right now to make you want to see the whole movie? A movie trailer gives you the genre, the main character, and the stakes, all highly compressed into about 2 minutes.
The movie trailer concept hits the nail on the head. An autobiography is exhaustive, but a trailer is curated. But, this raises an interesting psychological question about human behavior, especially in the context of language learning.
What's that?
Well, why is our default setting so universally geared toward the autobiography approach? Why do we overshare?
I've been thinking about that. I suspect it acts as a kind of smokescreen. When we feel evaluated, and especially when we're insecure about our English fluency or our grammar, our instinct is to overcompensate by providing a massive quantity of data.
Right, throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Exactly. We're throwing spaghetti at the wall. We think if I just give them all the information, surely they will find the one piece of experience that proves I'm qualified.
Right.
We're hoping the sheer volume of our words will distract the interviewer from the fact that we might have stumbled over a verb tense.
You've hit on the exact mechanism there. We confuse volume with value. We think more words equal more proof of competence.
But it doesn't, does it?
No, what actually happens is the complete opposite. By flooding the listener with raw, unstructured data, you completely destroy the clarity and relevance metrics they're looking for.
You're forcing the interviewer to sift through all that spaghetti to find the one perfectly cooked noodle.
And frankly, an interviewer's not going to do that work for you. They'll just tune out.
Okay, so if we know the autobiography is a trap and we know our goal is to pitch a highly curated movie trailer based on clarity and relevance, how do we actually storyboard this?
Right, because understanding the concept is one thing, but when the adrenaline spikes, an English learner needs a reliable anchor.
Exactly. So what's the blueprint?
This is where the source material transitions from psychological theory to incredibly practical application. It introduces a powerful, highly effective 3-step formula, and its brilliance lies in its simplicity.
Okay, lay it on us.
The framework is present, past, future.
Present, past, future. Not past, present, future. That feels a bit, counterintuitive. Chronologically, we're conditioned to start at the beginning.
It does feel counterintuitive at first, but starting with the present is the most critical distinction in this entire framework. Let's break down the mechanics of why this works, step by step.
Let's do it.
Step 1 is the present. This is who you are right now. You start by explicitly stating your current role or your current professional situation.
The source had a good example for this, right?
Yeah, the source provides a very clean example. I'm currently working as a quality engineer with 10 years of experience in manufacturing.
So right away, in the very first breath, you have established your professional identity and your overarching value.
Yes. You don't make them wait for it. You just hand it to them. Then step 2 is the past. This is how you got to the present.
Okay, so a quick rewind.
Exactly. You briefly explain your background and the key experiences that built your current expertise. The example continues. I started my career in quality assurance and have worked on improving production processes and product reliability.
It acts as the foundational evidence. You made a claim in the present, and the past proves it.
Precisely. And finally, step 3 is the future. This is where you are going.
The stakes of the trailer.
Exactly. This is the crucial moment where you connect your ultimate professional goal to the immediate situation you are in, which is typically the specific job you're interviewing for.
Right.
So the example wrapped up the narrative with, now I'm looking to grow into a role where I can lead quality systems and contribute at a higher level.
I want to look closely at the efficiency of that, because it takes a sprawling decade-long career and synthesizes it into 3 distinct beats. I'm currently working as a quality engineer. I started my career in quality assurance, focusing on production processes. Now I'm looking to grow into a role where I can lead quality systems.
It is incredibly tight.
It really is. But I want to go back to my earlier point about the timeline. Why does starting with the present work so much better for the listener's brain than starting with the past?
It comes down to cognitive anchoring and how human working memory functions. Our working memory can only hold a small amount of new information at one time. Usually around 4 to 7 discrete items.
Okay, so pretty limited.
Very limited. If you start your answer in the past saying something like, well, 10 years ago I was an intern in a totally different field, and then I moved to this city, and then I took a job in retail.
Oh man, the listener's brain is working overtime.
Exactly. They're holding all these puzzle pieces, trying to guess what the final picture looks like. They're expending mental energy just trying to figure out where your story is going.
They're essentially waiting for the punchline, and while they wait, they might miss crucial details.
Exactly. By starting with the present, I am a quality engineer, you immediately give them the mental bucket. You give them the punchline first.
Ah, I see.
Now, when you talk about your past, their brain doesn't have to work to categorize it. They just drop those past experiences directly into the quality engineer bucket you've already provided.
Wow, that's really smart.
It's a structure that is incredibly easy for a listener to follow, which makes you, the speaker, sound exceptionally organized and in total control of the narrative.
And I imagine for an English learner, this drastically reduces your own cognitive load, too. You don't have to invent a narrative arc on the spot. You just fill in the 3 blanks.
Yes, exactly. You just fill in the blanks.
That makes total sense. We have our structural blueprint. But let me push back here for a second.
Sure.
Structure is great on paper.
Yeah.
I can write out the perfect present, past, future script in my notebook.
Hmm.
But if I walk into that room and my brain is actively translating and I recite that script from memory like a hostage reading a ransom note,
Right.
I am going to fail that confidence metric we talked about earlier. Having the words isn't enough. The delivery has to work. How is the source guide learners in refining the actual delivery?
Delivery is absolutely where the theory meets reality. The source outlines some strict parameters to ensure the delivery sounds natural, and it starts with a very specific time limit.
Okay, what's the limit?
The absolute sweet spot for this answer is 30 to 60 seconds. No shorter, no longer.
60 seconds. When you're sitting in the hot seat, 60 seconds can feel like an eternity, but when you're actually speaking, it goes by in a flash. Why that specific window?
It's calibrated to human attention spans in a professional setting. If your answer is shorter than 30 seconds, you likely haven't provided enough substance for them to evaluate your relevance. You've given a title, but no context.
Makes sense.
But if you push past the 60-second mark, you are almost certainly losing their attention, and you risk wandering off topic right back into the autobiography trap.
Right. So a tight 45 to 60 seconds shows that you respect their time and that you possess the executive function to, edit yourself.
Precisely.
Okay, this brings up a trap that I think is deeply specific to English learners, and the source hits on it perfectly. It emphasizes using simple, clear language rather than complicated grammar or vocabulary. They offer a great comparison. Instead of saying, I have been responsible for the facilitation of production upgrades, you should just say, I helped improve production. Now, I want to play devil's advocate for a second.
Please do.
If I am an English learner, I have likely spent years, literally years, memorizing advanced vocabulary lists, studying complex verb conjugations, trying to master corporate jargon.
Oh, the corporate jargon is endless.
It is. So if I'm in a high-stakes job interview, shouldn't I be deploying the biggest, most sophisticated words I know? Shouldn't I drop words like facilitation and synergistic and paradigm to prove to the interviewer that my English proficiency is incredibly high?
It is such a common trap, and psychologically it's completely understandable. You've put in a massive amount of hard work to learn those words, and you want to display the fruits of your labor.
Exactly. I want the credit.
But here is the profound truth about real-world communication, which the source implicitly understands. Clarity will always, always trump complexity. Always. The purpose of communication is the seamless transfer of ideas from your brain to their brain. If you use a 5-syllable word where a 2-syllable word would do the exact same job, you are actively creating friction in that transfer.
You're making the listener work harder to decode your sentence, which distracts them from the actual skills you're trying to highlight.
Yes. And there is an even bigger risk for a non-native speaker. If you try to use a highly complex word like facilitation, but you mispronounce it slightly or use it in a slightly incorrect context, it immediately shatters the illusion of fluency.
Oh, wow.
It draws a massive red circle around the fact that you are struggling with the language. True mastery of any language isn't about using the most obscure words in the dictionary. It is about expressing complex, nuanced ideas with simple, elegant precision.
That makes a lot of sense.
I helped improve is an active, strong, and universally understood phrase, responsible for the facilitation of sounds bureaucratic, passive, and frankly, unnatural in a spoken conversation, even for native speakers.
That reframing must be such a massive relief for learners. It takes so much pressure off the working memory. You do not need to swallow a thesaurus before the interview. You just need to be clear.
Exactly.
And by keeping the language simple, you actually free up mental bandwidth to focus on the next technique the source suggests, which is adding value and context.
Right.
You don't just state the facts of your resume. You use those simple words to highlight one key strength.
Exactly. You are planting specific seeds. If you slip in a simple line like, I've been especially focused on improving efficiency and reducing defects, you give the listener a hook.
Oh, I see.
You want the interviewer to grab that hook and say, oh, that's interesting. Tell me more about how you reduce defects. You're subtly controlling the direction of the subsequent conversation.
And keeping it simple also allows you to adapt to the context. The present, past, future blueprint isn't just a rigid script for formal job interviews, right?
No, not at all.
If you are at a networking event, the structure holds, but your content zooms out to a broader introduction. If you are in a casual setting meeting a new colleague, you lighten the tone. You own the architectural structure, so you can decorate the rooms however you need to for the specific occasion.
That adaptability is the hallmark of genuine fluency.
Yeah.
You aren't reciting a memorized poem. You're utilizing a dynamic tool.
So we have the blueprint. We know to keep it under 60 seconds, and we know that simple active language is the secret to sounding fluent. But the source also outlines some lingering bad habits.
Yes, the pitfalls.
If I had to guess, the first major pitfall English learners fall into, based on everything we've discussed, I'd say it has something to do with starting the pitch poorly, like wasting time on obvious details.
You're exactly right. The source explicitly flags this as mistake number 1. Starting your answer with, my name is X, I am 25 years old.
Which feels so deeply ingrained from high school language classes. Hello, my name is. It feels like the most polite, natural way to begin. But why is it a mistake in a professional setting?
Because it is redundant. And redundancy kills the pacing of your movie trailer. In a professional setting, they likely have your resume sitting right in front of them, or your name is literally at the bottom of your video square on the call.
Right. They know who you are.
Exactly. Furthermore, stating your age is almost always irrelevant to your professional capabilities, and in many corporate cultures, it is actually legally inappropriate for them to consider your age during the hiring process.
Oh, that's a really good point.
You only have 60 seconds. Do not waste the first 10 seconds rolling opening credits that the audience has already read. Get straight into the action. Start with the present.
Cut the fluff. I love it. And I'm guessing mistake number 2 is just falling right back into the autobiography trap we dissected earlier.
Yes. The source reiterates it because the urge is so strong, you have to actively fight the temptation to give the full life story.
Nobody needs to know that you were the treasurer of the high school chess club if you are applying to be a senior software architect.
Exactly. You must ruthlessly edit your narrative to focus only on what matters to the person sitting across from you right now.
Which brings us to mistake number 3, which the source defines as jumping around. If we look at the psychology behind that, I imagine this happens when someone hasn't practiced the present, past, future structure and panic sets in. Their brain starts making wild, real-time associations. They say, I want to be a manager, but currently I do sales, which is funny because my degree is actually in biology, but next year I hope to transition into marketing.
It creates absolute cognitive whiplash for the listener.
Whiplash, yes.
When you jump back and forth across your timeline, you force the interviewer to become a detective. They have to mentally map out your chaotic statements and try to build a coherent timeline for you.
And again, if you make the listener work that hard just to understand your basic career trajectory, they will subconsciously assume that your actual work product will be equally chaotic and hard to manage.
So jumping around doesn't just confuse them, it actively degrades their trust in your professional competence.
That is a crucial insight. And that leads to the 4th and final pitfall the source highlights. Weak delivery. You can have the perfect, simple, concise, structurally sound answer, but if you rush through it out of nerves or if you mumble and stare at the floor, the confidence metric drops to 0.
Right. It all falls apart.
How does the source suggest a learner actually fix that physical delivery?
The fix requires moving out of the theoretical and into the physical. You must engage in active, out-loud practice.
Out loud, not just in your head.
Not just in your head. The source emphasizes that you must learn to slow down. When we are nervous, we speak faster to get the uncomfortable experience over with.
Guilty. I definitely do that.
We all do. But you have to consciously counter that by pausing naturally between the present, past, and future sections. And you must focus intensely on clear articulation.
The guide actually provides a shadowing practice section to help with this, forcing the learner to get the words out of their head and into the physical air. I want to demonstrate how this pacing should sound. I'm going to read the marketing assistant example they provided, and I want you to listen to how the pauses act as structural pillars. Okay, here we go.
I'm listening.
I'm currently working as a marketing assistant. Pause. I started my career in digital marketing and have experience managing social media campaigns. Pause. Now I'm looking to develop my skills and take on more strategic responsibilities.
See, what is so effective about that demonstration is that the pauses aren't just for you to catch your breath.
Right.
They are auditory signals to the listener. Present, pause, past, pause.
Future.
It sounds incredibly grounded. You don't sound like you were rushing to the finish line. You sound like an expert calmly stating facts.
It feels completely different physically, too. And I think that points to the source's final piece of advice regarding practicing out loud. Formulating a sentence in your mind is an entirely different neurological process than physically speaking it.
It's a profoundly different process. Muscle memory in linguistics is a very real biological phenomenon.
Really? Muscle memory.
Oh, yeah. Your vocal cords, your tongue, your diaphragm, they all have to physically coordinate to produce the specific sounds and rhythms of a second language. You cannot build that physical coordination by silently reading a script.
That makes so much sense.
The more you say your narrative out loud in your living room, adjusting to the physical sensation of the words, the more effortlessly those words will flow when you are sitting in the boardroom.
So, to bring all of this together for you, the listener, the next time you hear those 4 terrifying words, tell me about yourself. You have a concrete action plan.
You do.
You're going to ditch the chronological autobiography. You're going to embrace the present, past, future blueprint to anchor your listener. You're going to keep your pitch in that tight 30 to 60-second window. You're going to use clear, simple language instead of trying to show off a complex vocabulary. And above all, you are going to build your linguistic muscle memory by practicing it out loud.
What is truly fascinating to me about this entire exercise is that while this source material is explicitly designed as a tactical guide for English communication, it yields a profound psychological byproduct.
What do you mean by that?
Well, by forcing yourself to strip away all the extraneous noise, by dropping the complicated vocabulary that hides your insecurities, and by actively crafting this streamlined present, past, future narrative for an external audience, you inevitably clarify your own internal sense of purpose.
Oh, wow. I hadn't thought about it like that.
Right. When you finally articulate exactly where you are and exactly where you are going, especially when you achieve that clarity in a second language, you often discover a deep, genuine confidence in your actual career path. It forces you to ask yourself, if you stripped away all the noise today, do you actually believe in the future you're pitching?